Hi guys, I am really excited to share with you this first pass for your brand new home in San Carlos on this wonderful corner lot that we're seeing here. So just to orient ourselves, we are seeing the front street here, Arroyo here, and Woodland right here. And we're seeing all the existing trees, the existing sidewalk. This dashed bold red line represents your actual property line. And as we can see, this orange dashed line here represents the existing garage to be removed that happens to be built onto your neighbor's property. Not the greatest. I hate when I see this happening on properties that I'm working on, so I'm happy to get rid of this and give some space back to your neighbors. Looking at this site plan, we also see the orange dashed outline here representing the existing house to be removed, as well as these orange lines here, which represent that existing driveway, which will be shifting over to make room for the new attached garage that has to be built 5 feet away from the property lines if it's attached. I know we talked about doing a detached garage, or at least I was entertaining the idea, but San Carlos has recently changed its rules as of 2024. There are quite a few new mandated objective standards that San Carlos is requiring, one of which, two of which have really influenced the design here. So a lot of it has to do with the garage. The garage, if attached, has to maintain the standard setbacks, which are shown here in this red line. 5 foot on the side, 15 at the front, 7.5 feet on a street side, and 15 at the back for the ground floor. But the garage also has to have at least a 20-foot setback. It can't be built right up to the 15-foot setback. It has to have a 20-foot setback. And on top of that, it also has to have a 5 foot minimum setback from the garage to the front of the house. So wherever we put the front of the house, the garage can be no further forward than 5 feet to the front of the house. So that really influenced the design for me, um, as did your inspiration images. You're wanting to do a very tall Spanish style home with tall 2 story volumes, which I think looks gorgeous, and I'm really excited to design that for you. But in San Carlos, they have deeper second floor setbacks. So we have ground floor setbacks shown here. And when we get to the second floor plan, you'll see the second floor setbacks are even further back. And because I'm trying to think ahead and design in 3D, I wanted this office space here to be that 2 story tower with the playroom slash guest room up above it. And because I want this to be a tall 2 story tower element, I actually set this volume at the second floor setback, which I believe is 19 feet at the front. And then based on that, 5 feet back from that is where the garage can start. So there is perhaps a longer driveway than I had anticipated, but I still think that overall this is going to be a very attractive home. And I know I'm kind of jumping around all over the place, but I know I talked about possibly detaching the garage and having it be detached and having there be an open airspace between the garage and the home. But San Carlos does not allow a detached garage structure to be built right on the property line. Even if it's detached, you still have to maintain a 3 foot setback, which, in all honesty, just kind of kills any possibility of that making sense on your almost 70 foot by 70 foot lot. So I'm showing the garage attached. I'm showing it on this side instead of on the street side, because if we put it on the street corner, we have to be 20 feet over from the street side setback, which just almost completely obliterates your 70-foot wide lot. So the garage wants to be over here. The 2 car garage wants to be over here. And the driveway for the garage will require removing or relocating this one sycamore tree so that we can actually get out to the street. We might be able to finagle this a little bit. The driveway design is not the driving factor for the house. There's a lot more going on with the house that I want to get into. But the garage is probably the biggest driving element for the site design. And so what we are seeing here is, I think, the most appropriate spot for the garage that allows for those tall two-story volumes, which I think you're really going to love. So looking at this site plan, we're also seeing some information on the square footages that I'm proposing here. So San Carlos has a couple different ways to figure out what your maximum floor area is, and I think you already knew this number. I think you quoted this number to me already. So I'm confirming that you're right, that we are allowed to build up to 2979 square feet, rounding off. And I am proposing 1861 square feet for the ground floor, including the garage, and about 1120 square feet for the second floor, just about kissing the total square footage limit. And then I have a broken down subtotal here of how much of that square footage is living and how much of that is garage. So, looking at the site plan, San Carlos also has an interesting little rule here where if you're a corner lot and you abut another lot that has its front setback here, we have to have a little notch here that is the same 15-foot front setback that this lot has. But that really didn't influence my design too much. More influence was the elements I already mentioned. The two-story design element, the 5-foot setback from the garage to the front of the house, and honestly just this slope or the angle here. I couldn't really take too much advantage of that for the house itself, but I think that though the house may be pushed back further than we'd like, I still think it is going to be a very bright and open set of living spaces that are pushed towards the back. And yes, you have a little bit more front yard than maybe we'd like, but I think the overall aesthetic is going to be really worth it. And, I don't mind pushing you a little further back from the noisier street here. Okay, let's zoom in on the next sheet. We'll zoom in on the ground floor plan. So my design is this. We would come up to the front of the house, and we've already talked about this office and how it protrudes out. I could see this being a really fantastic window right here, like a teardrop window or some other very special window for your office space. But we would walk past that to a covered porch, and this covered porch is actually part of the second story above, one of the bedrooms above, cantilevering out past. And I have some really nice ideas of how that might be detailed to create a very authentic looking Spanish style home for you. And we open the door into the foyer space, and there's a coat closet here, and you can go either way through an arched opening here to the dining room, which is a very formal space with a big window here and big windows along here. I've opted to show the dining space in this corner rather than say like a spare living room, because I know you wanted a dining room. I didn't think you really wanted a more formal living room, and I think this dining space so close to the kitchen and not too far from the family room would be a really wonderful formal space close to the front entry, close to the foyer, and visible through windows here and perhaps through here. There's a big sycamore tree right here, so there'd be a lot of screening. No one would really see into the dining room through this way, but certainly this way. And the way that I've opted to locate the second floor plan, which is shown in this very faint line here, is that this area is completely uncovered by the second floor. So we could play around with ceiling heights in here and have this be sort of a very monumental, formal dining space with higher ceilings than the typical 9-foot ceilings that I'm proposing for all the other spaces that are underneath the second floor. So again, we come in and we have a large art wall right here. There's the back of some more built-in cabinetry for the kitchen. Come in and you, again, go right to the dining room or go left to enter the home. And from here, we can jut into the office space. We have access to the bathroom. And I know we don't necessarily want to see the door into the bathroom from the dining room. I do think this is a pretty decent distance away. And I did toy with perhaps extending this closet up a little bit more, but I'd rather have a cleaner wall here at this area that creates a formal foyer space, and then you can go this way, and I'm just not too concerned about visibility to either the kitchen or the dining space, just because this is so far away. But this bathroom is pretty convenient for the office and convenient for everyone else to use downstairs. I have opted to combine the full bathroom for the office and have that be the powder room as well. So this would be the guest bathroom as well. I hope that that works for you. I didn't think, I certainly could find room for a second powder room with just a toilet and a sink in it, but I'm not quite sure where I'd want to put it. Um, so I hope you like the idea of combining that space. So we come in, and then we start to, from the foyer, we also start to see the stairs coming up. So this would be a very open stair area with space underneath it that would be open. And then in the kitchen, we've got a really nice kitchen here. Huge island, fridge and an oven on some tall cabinetry here. A break in the cabinets to get into a very large walk-in pantry. And then this back cabinet wall would have your cooktop as well as the sink with a big window, with a flip-out window looking out across the rear deck. And then this cabinetry line right here is honestly a bit far from the kitchen, but I could see this being overflow storage for some larger items, or perhaps it could be a bit of like a home office or a home command center. This is where the family calendar could be, a little computer station could be set up here. It could be a little bit of a informal office space perhaps. But the kitchen is nicely connected to the dining room, but not quite fully visible. If you've got a mess at the sink perhaps, or a lot of dishes on the cooktop, it's a bit out of sight and around the corner. So I kind of like that. From the kitchen, we open into the family room, which has room for a more informal dining nook or another dining table area. This could be a games table, it could be a breakfast table. You certainly have a lot of room at this huge kitchen island too to have a lot of seating here as well. But then the family is pretty decently sized, I think. I've got just a placeholder now for a fireplace and a TV. We'll fine tune these details later. But from the family room and this dining nook, we've got two different types of doors. One, a quick and convenient little swinging door that allows you to step out onto the deck. But we've also got the more monumental sliding stacked door that could open up really wide and allow really big connection to the outdoor deck. And the fact that this is all southern facing is really, really happy for me. I'm going to love the amount of light that we're going to get into through these windows and in through the windows here above the sink. And I didn't talk about this yet, but in the dining room, we've got a built-in buffet here. So you can have all your fine china and a lot of linens and things like that stored in here. But I'd also like to see a very special window right here. So I think this would be a I'm really happy about this dining space. Very excited about that. Quick door into the garage, and then a little bit of an alcove space back here for some of your home appliances, like your water heater and your furnace element would live in this little alcove outside of the clear parking area that's required. I know you asked for some shelves. I have to show the garage being clear 20 by 20, but you can certainly build shelves in along here or along the side, but I'm just not allowed to show those. So it's certainly big enough to park small cars in here and have the garage lined with shelves, but we'll just not show those on the planning sets. Okay, so now let's head upstairs. So we'll come up here and we'll turn the corner and come along up here, and we come up at the top of the stairs at a hallway, a 3.5 foot wide hallway that opens out directly onto the balcony. So as you're coming upstairs, there's a patio door and a lot of windows that allow access and views onto a rather small balcony, but it's big enough for a bistro setup. We can have 2 chairs and a small table here in the corner. Of course, it's also big enough just to step out onto and enjoy. But from here, we would come upstairs and we would have the door into the master suite. The master suite is really quite large and is definitely big enough for extra furniture elements. You can have another seating zone here. This could easily be a crib setup right here in this corner, or this corner. But I think this is a very nicely shaped and nicely sized room for the flexibility you're looking for. A small pocket door here gives access into the closet and the bathroom area for the master suite. I'd have 2 closets, a his and her closet. And then the bathroom, I think you're going to be quite happy with. It's heavily inspired by the images you gave. So as you're coming down here, you get a long view of the tub and the windows over the tub. And then dual vanity here, shower, and the water closet. All working pretty well, I think. Coming back out this way, so coming up the stairs, you can either go left into your bedroom, straight to the balcony, or we turn right to get to the other secondary bedrooms. Bed 2, bed 3, and bed 4 / the playroom. Now, because you mentioned that this could be a playroom, I'm really quite keen on the idea of doing double doors here and letting these doors just be open. And again, this is the space that's stacked over your office below. And so I could see this also being an opportunity for a very special window that ties in with the window happening down below at the office. So I'm thinking of this tower and how these 2 windows here at the office and here at the playroom are going to relate to each other. And as I mentioned, you can see that the second floor front setback is 19 feet, and I've just pushed the house as far forward to kiss that element right there. There's a guardrail wrapping the stairs here, so this is a very open area up here. This is really wide open. You'd see across everything. So when you step out of this room here, you could see across the stairs at this very wide space to all of these bedrooms. I could see a skylight being a feature up here as well. And again, all the glass here at the balcony. I think this is going to be a very bright second floor vestibule area. But as I've widened this area out here for the double doors into the playroom, I've also shown a laundry closet in this area as well. Because I think you mentioned you wanted laundry upstairs. And then last but not least, we have the door into the shared bathroom for these 3 spaces. So I think that about does it for the explanation of this first design. I am really eager to hear your thoughts on how I've interpreted your wish list, and once you provide me feedback, or when we meet to go over your feedback, I can schedule time to work on your comments and come up with a second version or second iteration of this plan. And after that, we'll start, once the floor plan is agreed on, we'll start the 3D modeling. Okay, guys, thank you so much for your time. I look forward to hearing back from you.